Hello, hello. Welcome to Sparkle.Sanctuary. My name is Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. This is going to be a post review of 2 images that I finished in the month of December for 2025. I actually completed this image on December 29th and then was able to knock this one out to make 23 finishes in the year. So I'll go ahead and start reviewing this one. Let me put this one aside. Okay, so my first finish for December is Once Upon a Dark Night by Mandy Manzano from Diamond Art Club. I have had this kit in my stash since August of 2020, and I spent 2025 kind of working through some of the older pieces in my stash, and that's why this one was chosen. It is a square diamond shape and is 55 by 80 centimeters. I will say I did some customizations to this that I added my own diamonds, and I did a video on that, so I'll get to that here in a minute, but I would like to touch base on the quality of diamonds and the quality of the canvas. This is a similar flocked backing. It's got the scalloped and poked edges like the normal Diamond Art Club. Instead of having the thumbnail down here, their thumbnail is actually at the top of this legend. There is a legend still on the top right, and on the bottom left of the canvas, there's still the Diamond Art Club logo at the top here, if I can get this to move, at the top. And then there is their social media information at the bottom. It just looks a little different, and it's hard to see because I have the tape over it. So a lot of their quality of their canvases has stayed the same. I will say the grid was kind of hard to determine if it was good or not. It doesn't all fit very snugly together. It's not so big that there's extreme gapping. I was able to mostly line up the light colored diamonds, especially because those were better quality. I was able to mostly line them up, but there is definitely some gapping in the darker colors where the diamonds were maybe a little bit smaller, or they're just, whatever quality, I don't know. But the grid on this could have probably been a little bit tighter, and then it would have been easier to work on because of the grid. And then also adding in the trash drills. I will say this one took me quite a bit of time to finish. The biggest culprit was 310 and 3371. So I have all of these trash drills, and because of that, I ended up running out of 3371 and had to pull some from my own stash. And then I will insert a picture in here of 310 so you can kind of see how bad the quality of the 310 drills are. I still have in this some of those trashy pieces. I did start to wonder if I was going to run out of 310, but I was able to make it through when I just wasn't quite as picky towards the end of my canvas. When I started noticing that I was running low. Every other one, again, it's the darker colors that seem to be the culprit. And this was across the board for every diamond painting company in 2020. So I'm not saying anything bad about Diamond Art Club. And I know that they've made a ton of improvements over the last 5 years. So I have no real issues. It just took me a little bit longer to work on, if that makes sense. So let me get these out of the way, and I will show you the customizations that I did. I will also link in the description box to the video where I talked about how I was going to customize this diamond painting, so you can kind of get an idea of where I started, and then you could come back and see where I ended up. So on this canvas, I added 4 different special diamonds. I added in this one that somehow the piece of plastic on the inside of it has disappeared. It has the information about what it's a pixie dust. I think this is from DP with Sparklers, and it's number 413. And so pixie dust just means there's extra mica powder on top. So if I can bring that in and get it to focus, you can see there's like a lighter shimmer of glitter. Those are actually the parts that show on the canvas. I had basically the same thing, but in this white color. And that's not focusing. There we go. You can see a little bit of extra glitter sparkle. And then I have these two different like crystal kind of diamonds. This one is 720 and this one is 666. Ignore that sticker. That was from another canvas that I used it on. But basically we have a bright red and then this orange color. So what I ended up doing, I don't remember exactly what I talked about doing in the other video. I'll have to post that. But I ended up adding those in various places. So the top portion of this image has smoke in it. Everywhere there was, I'm trying to remember what letter I did it on. So I put this away and completely forgot that I had marked these, and now I can remember what I did. So in these smoky sections up here at the top, wherever there was a letter A, like this, I can get that to focus. Wherever there was the letter A, I replaced it with this one because the lighter portions of this where the glitter is kind of mimicked that. And so those are all over in the smoke up here. I'll pull that up a little bit so you can see. I think it looks really pretty, especially up close. You can see kind of around in through here. You see that extra little bit of glitter. And then it kind of goes, it's not quite the darker area, but it's not quite the lighter area either. I'm struggling with this canvas, sorry. You can see that through there. And then, and so, and there it is sprinkled in through here. So it's just kind of sprinkled in there. It's very subtle, but it gives that smoke a little extra glimmer to it. And then I had this that I used. So I thought originally when I actually was working on this image, and when I looked at customizing, I thought that this was all going to be this dot is actually the same thing on here. I just replaced it equally with the dot on in this canvas. Where is it? So it is 3770, and I don't know why, but I was thinking this was more of a stark white than it is instead of a peach. And so I had planned on using this white in more places than I did, but I decided not to. So I only put this around the flame here, wherever there was that dot around this flame. Everything else I still left in the peach colors. So down her arm, even in the lighter areas, down around her hand, wherever that was, I didn't change those out just because I really felt like it would have been too stark of a white. I did have another flame down here, and I didn't end up changing those ones just because it was at the bottom and I didn't want to draw the eye towards that one too much. So I literally only ended up using it in this flame here to kind of bring out the white starkness of the light from that, because it is shining so much light on the rest of the image. So there was that one. And then this 720, I ended up using, there is a upside down, there is this upside down letter T, number 321. And so it is a red. And so replacing it with an orange was kind of risky, but I love the way that ended up looking in the flame itself, because I used the red in her dress and I didn't want it to be the same exact color. So you can see it goes from this orange into the red, back into the orange and yellow. That is not how a flame normally looks. And if I had a really dark red, that probably would have looked really, really cool. I just did not. And I thought the orange was a better complement than what I was working with. So I did add that to this flame here, and I really like the way that looks. Also, there is a little bit of a flame on this side of the canvas, and so I added it to that one. And then I also did add it to this flame that's looking up from the bottom of the canvas, just a little bit there. So I definitely used that one in a couple more places than I initially intended, I think. And then the last one I have is number 666. And I actually had intended to replace that, the 321 on the canvas, because they're both red. And I thought that those, they match really well. But when I started to put, let me put this away, move this. When I started to put these on her dress, they were in these really light areas. And it was not working. In fact, because the diamond themselves in certain lights are bright and in other ones are dark, that's kind of what gives it the depth, right? And because of that, when I had it in the lighter areas in here, it almost looked like her dress was speckled, and not in a good way. And so anyway, I ended up picking those off and then switched them over to a little bit of a darker area. And so those are actually in where the hashtag is for number 814. And I just kind of sprinkled those in. I did not have enough of these to fill in all of the hashtags. That probably would have looked really cool, but probably overwhelming to the image. So if you look, you can see like kind of sprinkled in everywhere her dress is. I just sprinkled that in. So let me pull this up. So you can see in her arm there, little extra bits of shine. And there's some on her torso. And then as I come down and look further at her dress, you can see I just sprinkled them in here and here, all around, everywhere in her dress. So it just has this extra glitter effect all over. And when I step back and pull back to look at it, I love the way that ends up looking. It just gives a little bit more depth and a little bit more movement to her dress. And I just feel like it worked really, really well. And I'm glad that I switched it to the darker area so that it would not stick out quite as much, because it's already, a pixelated image, and then it just made it look extra pixelated and too fake. So anyway, oh, I forgot that I added the orange glitter into this flame that's looking up from right here too. So there's that orange crystal, like the red one. So anyway, that is all I have for this one. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I do really enjoy this customization. So if you have it and you haven't worked on this one, I recommend doing it. I also recommend, if you have extra drills in your stash for specifically 3371 and 310, I recommend using those if you got this back in 2020. I don't know the last time this image was sold by Diamond Art Club, just because of the way they were selling this. I don't know if this is a discontinued kit or what, but I really am glad that I picked this one up, and just wish that there had been less gapping and less issues with the diamonds being trashy. Part of the gapping could have been because the diamonds that were more trash riddled also were slightly smaller than what the grid should have been. So I don't know, take that what you think. So I will go ahead and get the other image out. Actually, really fast, let me show you this full. Let me turn this sideways so you can see all of it on camera. So there you go. You can get most of her in there. She's very pretty, and I love it. I did also add a little bit of that red into the gemstone here on her neck. I forgot about that. But anyway, let me get the other image set out and we'll review that one. Okay, so my second finish for the month of December 2025 is Butterfly. It is also by Diamond Art Club. It was created by, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name, Ranjita Anoop. It is a smaller image, only 33 by 46. It is also square-shaped diamond painting. I purchased this one in August of 2022, so almost exactly 2 years after the last one was purchased, and the difference between these images was night and day. It was night and day. I will say I was able to blast through this image. It worked up so quickly. There was very little trash, and most of it was like holes in the top of a diamond or a hole on the corner of a diamond, as opposed to like extra pieces. So literally that's the trash. And some of those are from me dropping them, not necessarily because they were trash. So very, very, very little trash in this one. And all of the quality of these drills, I gotta say, like I felt like I went bougie when I moved over to this one, just because the quality was so much better. There's also 4 special diamonds already in this image, 3 special diamonds already in this image. There is 141, a 130, and 120. This is the way they used to label their old, how they would label them. And so they're ABs. So Aurora Borealis, they have an opal kind of essence, kind of shimmery effect on the top of them, and it gives kind of a rainbow effect. Anyway, I love the way this looked. The white was in these butterflies here. The blue was obviously in these butterflies, and then that yellow was in the orange and yellow butterflies. And so it lended to such a beautiful look. And I don't know, the quality, like I said, was fantastic. It is the same soft backed and flocked backing. It's still the scalped and poked edges. All of the same qualities that you see in current Diamond Art Clubs is almost exactly what you see in this one from 2022. I don't know. I really loved the grid quality, the diamond quality. They all kind of snapped in together. It was very satisfying to work on as somebody who multi-places. There's quite a bit of color blocking in the background. So color blocking is where you have chunks of a color that are all the same, so you can multi-place easily, versus confetti, like this area here where there's going to be changes in your diamond, your in the coloring so much that you have to use your single placer a little bit more often. This is barely confetti. This is, I mean, this just went so fast. And I also found it very satisfying to, I would normally start with the black outline and then work my way in. But with this one, I started with the background and then I did all the coloring on the inside and then I filled in the black. And it was very, very satisfying watching it all come together. And I don't know, I just got a lot of joy working on this image, and I love butterflies. They are special and dear to me. And it was just really helpful to work on butterflies during this time of year. So anyway, I really love this image. I have nothing really bad to say about it. I had no issues with any of the drill quality. I mean, I can't even be a little bit picky. There wasn't even really a lot of trash in the 310. There was plenty of leftover drills in every color. I didn't have any issues feeling like I was going to run out. So yeah, this is just overall great quality canvas. I wish all of my canvases worked up this way. I think I would like square shaped diamond paintings more often. So if they worked up like this, so maybe I just need to be working on my more recent stash to see if I can get through some of that. I just want to make sure I'm also loving on my older stash. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope that you, like I said at the beginning, I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year, and I hope that your 2026 is blessed. I will see you in my next video. Remember, wherever you go, to take care of yourself is a Sparkle Sanctuary, so please be sure to take time to take care of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.